Our base for the break was Gethley Dillon Thomas Paradise, a 17th century extension to a 16th century farmhouse set in beautiful grounds. This is where poet Dillon Thomas is said to have spent some time. It's in the hamlet of Laugharne, just north of Lampeter in West Wales. Breakfast was served in a lounge diner, complete with grand piano. A formal staircase with impressive portrait led up to our ensuite bedroom with its supremely comfortable four-poster bed and lovely views over the garden. To the south, Llanerchaeron is Dinafwr, a National Trust estate, home to rare breed white park cattle. On the main drive, an old tree has been made into a secret fairy village. The drive leads to Newton House, the Grade 2-star listed family home of the descendants of the Lord Rhys, a powerful Welsh prince. The house is used for exhibitions of archaeology, architecture, art and landscape, as well as this display of costumes, all of which can be found in portraits in the house. The staircase leads to a first-floor conservatory overlooking the formal garden. In the basement there are displays of old hats, boots, luggage and sporting equipment. There's also the servants' bathroom and the wine cellar. Outside is the small formal garden with views of the Gothic facade added in the 1850s. With a final look at the garden and White Park cattle, we return to the car. Further south is Laugharne, which isn't spelt like it sounds. The medieval castle stands above the River Taff, where it enters Carmarthen Bay. Here, two giant medieval stone towers stand guard over the remains of the magnificent Tudor mansion. It was rescued from near ruin by Elizabethan courtier Sir John Perrott. He turned the dilapidated 13th century castle into a gentleman's residence, including a grand hall, whose gaping windows still stare out over the water. From 1949 to 1953, Laugharne was home to the famous Welsh poet Dillon Thomas. We took the interesting waymarked walk to the Dillon Thomas boathouse, which goes through the town and past the house where he lived from 1938 to 1940. From here there are lovely views over the bay and estuary. Someone was clearly making a point here. The non-road passes a house with a view, before coming to a shed where Thomas wrote Under Milk Wood, which is believed to be based on Laugharne. A little further on is the boathouse where he lived for the final 4 years of his life. We return to the estuary the same way. Nearby is Colby Woodland Garden. Just inside the entrance is the walled garden. It began as a kitchen garden, but by the 1970s it was semi-derelict. It was transformed into a formal garden in the 1980s. In one part of the garden is a willow bee, which was created in May 2019. Just outside the walled garden is the bothy tea room. The woodland garden across the drive was originally part of a coal mining area. It was planted as woodland in the 1870s. It now contains rhododendrons and Japanese redwood, as well as a wildflower meadow and several streams. There's also a pollinator trail for children to follow. Aberaeron is on the west coast between Aberystwyth and Cardigan. It's best known for its tradition of painting houses in different colours so the fishermen could recognise their own as they returned from the sea. A bit further south is Quay, an old fishing village with 3 beaches and a picturesque harbour. Ribs, which are tenders to larger boats, are stacked on the harbour edge. The harbour wall is an excellent place to spot seals and dolphins, which spend the summer here. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't good enough to see them when we were there. Like Aberaeron, Quay too has colourful old fishermen's houses and lots of places to eat. About 8 miles east of Aberystwyth, at the side of a reservoir, is a small banana grove and the Magic of Life butterfly house. In the polytunnel, hundreds of butterflies fly amongst tropical plants. The butterflies are imported as sustainably farmed pupae, which hatch in a special cage in the tunnel, like this owl butterfly. Their natural life is only 2 to 3 weeks, so hundreds of pupae have to be bought every month, at a cost of £12,000 a season. Everyone wanted to photograph the blue morpho, but they rarely settle, and when they do, on a feeder for example, they close their wings to show a dull brown underside. The best chance of a picture is just as they take off, or to get a still from somewhere else. The butterflies are bred in the Philippines and Costa Rica, and no harm is done to nature. This is a malachite from Costa Rica. And this is a postman, as is this. The butterflies are fed with sugar water from these feeders. This is a very pretty blue-green swallowtail. Some of the feeders had little pots of sugar water where visitors could dip their fingers. This led the butterflies to feed from our hands, especially the clippers. Quick, another blue morpho. Gone. As the butterflies age, their colour fades. courting time. The butterfly house is popular with children, but it's so hot in there that you have to step out from time to time. That's no problem though, as the ticket is for multiple entries all day.
Trying to impress her.
And this was our best blue morpho shot. Very close to our B&B is Llanerchaeron, an 18th century National Trust property. Following the estate map, we first came to the walled garden. This is mainly a kitchen garden, producing all kinds of fruit and vegetables, which can be bought at the visitor centre. The garden also has a herbaceous border containing a large variety of flowers. On the other side of the wall is the old gardener's bothy, complete with the estate cat. Beyond this is the carriage house. Within the carriage house is the tack room with a couple of ornate ladies' side saddles. Other saddles hung from racks above the window. Next door is the cowshed with an old milking machine. The Simplex hygienic milker. In the same yard as the cowshed, the pigsties are still in use. There's some pretty good gammon on that. In the children's area was the opportunity to hand milk a fiberglass cow. It's years since I milked the real thing. The granary at the front of the stockyard contains some old carts. Facing that we saw a robin, a cockerel, a turkey and a squirrel. Next, in front of a barn, were a group of ducks. These stone circles were to keep hay bales off the ground. Also in the farmyard is the Geller Jones Rural Life collection of early 20th century agricultural and domestic machinery and implements. There's even a horse-drawn hearse, as well as a gig. Back in the walled garden, we passed some of the 50+ varieties of apple grown here as we made our way to the lake. The house is an elegant Georgian villa designed by architect John Nash in 1790, The house contains many original furnishings, as can be seen in the formal dining room. The main staircase with its long case clock leads to the bedrooms. The nursemaid's bedroom had a cradle for the baby. Down below in the kitchens, I was challenged to guess what various kitchenalia was used for.
Put that down, peel the shell off, and crack.
Not a dainty peeler.
No, it was a pastry cutter.
Yeah.
Next door was the scullery, which now would call a utility room. The next rooms were the butler's pantry and the housekeeper's room. As you can see, the house has remained unaltered for over 200 years. Finally, we visited the dairy and the cheese press and storage. As we left, we agreed that this is one of the best National Trust properties and was well worth the visit.